What is COVID-19 and how does it affect us? How does it lead to extreme poverty? We all know that COVID-19 is a disease caused by a new strain of coronavirus. This virus has led to severe and acute losses in many economies around the world due to illness and government-mandated social distancing orders. The impact and durations of the economic crisis on individuals' households resulting from the pandemic is difficult to predict, as many uncertainties surrounded the crisis duration, like length of stay-at-home orders, as well as impacted industries. Now, how does this virus affect the rise of poverty here in the Philippines? For the last 22 years, extreme poverty globally has been declining. Then came COVID-19 and with it massive job losses, shrinking economies, and loss of livelihoods, our country has been severely affected by the COVID-19. There is a growing evidence that the pandemic and the actions taken to control the virus have caused severe economic and social effects. These effects will likely be particularly acute for poor urban households, typically have less space to practice social distancing. They are more reliant on crowded transportation services. They have lower access in water and sanitation facilities. And lastly, they hold jobs in which working from home is not an option. That's why a lot of Filipino are suffering more than those rich. The COVID-19 crisis has put the Philippines into recession and revealed long-existing cracks in the country's systems and institutions as tough containment measures have ground the economy to a halt. Inequality in wealth distribution and poverty rates are estimated to have worsened during this pandemic, pushing about 2.7 million of people to extreme poverty. On the other hand, the recently released report shows that the pandemic will push 96 million people into extreme poverty this year, 2021. During the lockdown phase, the epidemic and associated lockdown measures can affect the supply and demand of certain products and hence their prices. An obvious example is food and medical goods. Even before COVID-19 reduced incomes and disrupted supply chains, chronic and acute hunger were on the rise due to various factors, including conflict, socio-economic conditions, climate change, pests, and natural hazards. But 2020 marks the most severe increase in global food insecurity, impacting vulnerable households in almost every country. Imagine how worse the impact of COVID-19 is in our country. Probably, it is very destructive. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic is devastating. Tens of millions of people are falling into extreme poverty, while the number of undernourished people currently estimated at nearly 690 million could increase by up to 132 million by the end of this year. The poor, as well as certain other non-poor groups, such as the low-income but not poor and the lower middle-income group, are vulnerable from both the public health challenges and the economic consequences of efforts to contain the virus. These vulnerable groups often have meager savings to cushion them against sustained economic disruptions and may have even little protection against other related shocks, such as job losses and food insecurity. Their recovery may be challenging compared to those in higher income groups, and that is according to PIDS Inc. Though there are many challenges for each of us, I still believe in the power of faith, for I have known that God will never give us a problem that we can't bear with. I know everything in this world has an end, and so pandemic is. Thank you.